Welcome back to the computer classes. Today we are going to see about computer languages. We have studied about various operating systems, applications, etc. All these, the operating systems, the applications, software applications, and what all things you could see on a computer is being written in one language or the another language. And these languages are known as programming languages. Why these are known as programming languages? Because it helps to make programs or application softwares. We could see we could learn about the computer languages or the programming languages that are used to write application programs. We have seen application programs, and the examples of application programs are MS Word, MS Excel, MS PowerPoint, Adobe Reader. Whatever software you see, wherever it is being written in one language or another. And how programmers make programs in application languages or programming languages. Sorry, not application languages, computer languages or programming languages. Because they start coding, they start writing programs so that when something is done with the mouse or some sort of a command is being given to the computer, an application opens up or an application works out. And after writing the application programs in a programming language, what happens? The software developer needs to compile this, or the interpreters are being used to compile it into application programs. The software programs which are being written in one language is being compiled. What is compiling? That means it is being made into a single executable application or program. For example, in the later years, exe files were the self-executable application files. What is .exe? You have seen .doc and .xls, such files, docx, jpeg files, mpeg files, mp3 files, and just like that there is an extension named exe, and this exe files are being used to make or the compiled files have an extension called an exe, and it's a standalone program which could work in different platforms. And what are platforms? You could see Windows is a platform where the MS Office or the MS Excel or MS Word or MS PowerPoint or the Typing Master Pro program or the Bandicam or the Adobe Reader could perform its own open up and perform its own actions independently. So from the early years itself, we are going to learn about there were so many programming languages or so many computer languages, and we are going to see about how the languages are being classified into generations. You have seen and studied about the generations of computers, the first generation, the second generation, the third generation, and up to the fifth generation. Similarly here for the languages also, it is being also classified into the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Okay, but when compared to the generations of computers, here the languages also developed according to years. We will see about the first generation of the programming languages. In the first generation, the languages which were being used for programming were having different different areas were using different codes, but one thing was there in common. The machine was able to read only one thing, that is the binary language, that is the ones and zeros. And what are ones and zeros I have explained to you when we were discussing about ASCII. And the ASCII codes, or the American Standard Code for Information Interchange codes, always were being written in the binary language or the machine language, which has only two former digits, that is the ones and zeros. And these ones and zeros were used by the machines, and the ones and zeros was the identification of the machine about whether there is a electricity present over there. And if the electricity is present, it is being denoted as 1, and if it is absent, it was being denoted as 0. Okay, the first generation programming languages or the computer languages was known as machine language. Okay, even today it has its own relevance, because the modern languages need to be converted to the machine language. Then only the machine is able to read that language. The binary language of the machine language has only two digits, that are ones and zeros, and these codes, the latest language, which is just like English, need to be compiled or interpreted using compilers, so that it will be converted to the machine language, so the machine is able to identify the commands given by the programmer. The programming in machine language is very difficult and was very tedious, because for A, B, C, etc., you have to remember about the sequence in which the ones and zeros will occur over there. The program written in machine language were error prone also, because if you make some sort of a mistake, the computer or the machine won't accept it, because it shows bugs. The constant bugs which run in the programs make programming in the first generation very difficult. But still then, the genius people over there used to make programming languages work, and the programs work according to the needs of the device, as well as the task which are being assigned by the programmer. The second generation computer programming languages, the second generation computer languages, the second generation languages were developed in the late 1950s and were also known as assembly languages, and the programs written in assembly language were very close to English language. The machine language and the assembly language are considered as low-level languages. The low-level languages and high-level languages are there. The most of the languages which we use today are high-level languages. In the 1950s, there were assembly language, or there were the second generation languages were there, which was near to English, but it was not ones and zeros, which was at that time it was being used, but certain commands could be used by this language. The programming languages in the second generation. When it came to the third generation of the programming languages, there was dramatic change, because here not only one language evolved, multiple languages evolved at this time, and many of the languages at this time started dominating, and this led to the In the third generation programming languages, it, it made the programming more popular as they were close to the English language and it was easier to learn and use. And many programming languages evolved at the time, and many of them perished in the due course, but it gave it led to the development of other languages which were much more easier, and it was integrated. It created IDE, that integrated development environment, to develop programs. The high level languages could run on different machines so that they were mission independent. That means whoever made, if in the former case, if IBM made a computer, the programming languages used in the IBM computer could work only in the IBM computer, and if somebody else made a computer, it doesn't work in that computer. But when it came to the third generation programming languages, what happened? The languages become independent of machine independent. That means if one person developed a language, it could be used in multiple machines. You could see that when Android was there, Android was being developed in such a manner that it dominated this scenario in such a manner that it could be used on tablets, it could be used on mobile phones, it could be used on multiple devices. Even the TV is being used having the operating system of Android. So the multiple devices could be easily synchronized with the operating system. So here the languages were there which could be supported with any machine which is being developed by any company. That was the development in the third generation computer, and the high level languages were introduced between 1956 and 1963. And as I have already told, the about interpreters and compilers, when a program is being created in high level languages to make it readable by the machine, it need to be converted to the low level language. And who converts the high level language to the low level language? It is the interpreter or the compiler. The language translators known as interpreters and compilers convert high level language into machine language or low level languages. Examples of high level languages are COBOL, Fortran, Pascal, C++, Java, and so on. You could see so many languages, and new languages are also evolving. And when a new language evolves and there are so many advanced features in the new language, the old language perishes. For example, still last year, many of the CBSE was following C++ in all the CBSE up to +2, so that the students were familiar with the computer languages. But what happened when Python came? When the Python language came, it had a much more flexible character, so that many of the features could be added just like Android. It gave even swallowed, or the Python, just like a snake, swallowed almost many of the languages and is dominating the screen now. The fourth generation programming languages. The fourth generation programming languages were designed to reduce the programming effort, the time taken to develop the software, and the cost of the software development. The only thing what you need to know was the logics. Only thing what you know was how the program flows up and how the menus have to be laid down. And now the programming skills are being made much more easier than compared to the the very late 90s or the 2005 or so. The main features of the fourth generation programming language was that they were very user friendly, portable, reduced level of programming skills were only needed. It could be used even by non-programmers, and it was developed in the period 1970 to 1990. Java etc. could be learned and be used by even the plus 2 students, and not much skill need to be there. It is being a flexible programming skill with in Java. And if you start studying Java, and if you start studying Python etc., you will be able to dominate how these type of generations of programming languages could make the ordinary layman do programs in programming languages. Now in the last year and now this year itself, you are doing you are being introduced to Scratch, and you could easily draw geometric figures in Scratch. You could make a caricature or a sprite walk on the screen and make the background change etc. And in the fifth generation programming languages, what is going to happen? In the fifth generation programming languages or the computer languages, it only need little coding, and the computer aided designs with graphics make the language easy to work with. These languages made computers to think for themselves and draw their own conclusion. Look here, even Steven Spielberg, who was being placed on the motoring skills he doesn't have, but when he look into the screen and with the movement of his eyes, what happens, the programs which are being installed in his computer could analyze what is in his mind. The fifth generation languages used artificial intelligence, fuzzy logic, and speech recognition. These type of languages were developed after 1990. This was the latest development. You could see that artificial intelligence and robotics, and you have seen the movie Yenthiran, where the latest advanced techniques in robotics as well as artificial intelligence etc. is being used. Even though it is a it is a movie of a fictional fiction nature, to one extent or so, it has been implemented in the day-to-day life. Even in the homes are being made intelligent. Even the cars are being made intelligent. The sensors kept in the cars could easily identify what are the obstacles and what are the nature of the parameters which are being in the surrounding it, sense and take decisions by itself. It could give information to the driver or to the owner of the car, and what is the condition of the vehicle, and so on. The latest Internet of Things, it is a development area, or robotics or artificial intelligence. In the area of Internet of Things, the Internet is used to control almost all the devices which are being attached or which are being in your home. Even though if you are not in the home, the sensors, the cameras, the refrigerator, the oven, the cooking range, the coffee maker, the water heaters, the solar water heaters, or the solar power converters, the solar powers which are being installed in your house could easily being controlled with the help of a mobile or a voice command, so that it functions according to your needs.